Hello everyone, this is Gizmo the Viking here, and today we are going to go back in the history a little bit to a good old friend, the Witness. I've understood there's a couple of people that have issues with the Tetris puzzles, so what I've done here is to reload the game, a brand new game, and we're gonna go through these puzzles and see what we learn and try to explain them a bit better than we did last time. So let's go ahead. So this is an easy, simple puzzle where you only have it's the same answer no matter where you go. You don't really learn anything from it. It's a dot in the middle, and we start learning basically here. So if we try and test a little bit, we can test this and we know that's wrong. So what we kinda learn is that we need to group this yellow square that needs to correspond to amount of squares that you are singling out together with it. So again, we only have one yellow square, which means we need to single out one square together with that yellow square. So it needs to contain the yellow square in one square, right? So you can't use 2, and you cannot use 3, and you cannot use 0, which is 3, right? So we have to use 1. Now we have 2, so from what we've learned, we can't do 3, and we cannot do 1, but we have to take out 2 squares. So if you imagine the big green squares become yellow, that's what we kind of doing. So both of them becomes yellow. So this top one would be the top one on the yellow square, and the bottom green one would be the bottom yellow square. That's basically what we're going on. Again, we are learning about different shapes. So here, this would be the correct answer. But we can also test it with just to try it this way, right? Rotate it a little bit, but we're not allowed to do so. So there's only one answer that is viable, which is that one. There's no other viable answers for this one, since there's not a bigger grid. Here we have a square, which is going to be kinda easy. We have a square here, but we could also go that way, but we are not allowed because there's a broken road. So the only answer we have right there is this one, even though there could be multiple answers. If this road or line wasn't broken, we could go over to the other intersection and up here, right? We could also do this one, but we're not allowed to do that either, right? So the only possible way we have to get the 4 yellow squares as a bigger square is to do this one. So there's 4 squares and we have 4 green squares inside of it. If we look on this one, we have the other Tetris puzzle, which is 3 in a line up and 1 to the right. And it has to be to the right. So I can't do this, for instance. This is not going to be a viable solution because our outline doesn't match the Tetris piece, the yellow Tetris piece. So the only viable one is this one. Actually, there's two viable ones on this particular puzzle. You have this one, which is viable, and you can also do this, which both of them contains the yellow Tetris piece within, and the piece matches, the outline matches the piece, right? So that's what we learn on this one. We need to make an outline that looks exactly like the Tetris piece, and the Tetris piece needs to be contained within the outline. Over to this side and see if we learn something new. Okay, so now there are 2 single squares, and we have 2 broken lines. So we basically only have this option for that one, and this would be wrong, right? Because we do this one correct, as you can see. it's not blinking, and this one is wrong because it's blinking. And from what we learned earlier, we need to single them out. We need to outline one for one, so we can do that. And on this one, we can't do the same answer. So we're learning a new rule, the simplest way we can. So we now have 2 yellow squares in 2 different bigger squares, but we can combine them. So we can have 2 yellow squares within the outline, and that's good. And we learn some more about it as well. So if you look here, this would be the correct way to outline the bottom 3, right? But there's no way for us to outline the last one, which would be within a trio on the top right. So we need to do it some other way. So we need to do what we learned in this one right there and combine the 2, so we get a square. So think of it as you're moving this one into this one. So you have a square, and then you just outline the square. Just make sure all the yellow squares are within your outline, and that's good. And again, we have the same thing. We now have a square, and we have 2 alone pieces on the top left. There's no way for us to outline this square and be able to outline this one and also go to the exit. So the only possible solution for us on this one is to outline both of them as 2 by 3. We have the exact same thing again, but we have some different options. So on this one we can do the exact same solution, or we should be able to also outline. Actually, I don't think that's possible because we are getting the ones into different sections. So you would be able to like do this, but you can't get to the exit, right? And you can't do it the other way either because again you block your exit, right? So if you could get to an exit, this would be a viable solution. But since you get blocked, it's basically the exact same solution as the former one. And now we learn something new, because on both these 2, you could like think that this square has to be these 4, and these 2 has to be these 2. Both of these kinda line up to that, right? So you kinda learn that the 2 right here needs to be the 2 yellows on the top left needs to be part of those 2. But you learn something different down here, because you would like think, okay, so that's the square, but you need 2 more. And where are you gonna put those, right? You don't have 2 more on your right. So the only way you can do this is to do it the exact same way again. So basically what you do is to have your square here, and you move these 2 to the top. So these are the very simple ones. So we're gonna try and go a little bit faster through them at the moment, since they are still very simple, and we'll get into more difficult ones later. So we have the 4 squares again, and we have a trio. So we need 3 at the top, or you can have 3 at the bottom and do like that. So there's 2 solutions here, where you can either do that or you can do that, right? I'm actually wondering if you could. Would that be possible? Let's test if this is a possible way to do it. I'm not sure. I don't think this would be possible. Because you will be splitting up. You will be splitting up this one to 2 here and 2 here, and you will not be allowed to split them. Right? So we can test that. Okay, we were correct, right? So our only 2 viable solutions are either that one or put the trio at the bottom and up, right? As we showed earlier. And we have yet again a puzzle where you have, it's kind of similar to these, right? But we have moved the square to the right side now. So to get that one in, we need to do this, and we need to have these two in as well. So basically this is our only viable solution for this one. Because if we go the regular one, we won't get these four in the bottom right corner with us. So our only viable solution, well, two viable solutions, you can draw it out two different ways, right? But this is basically our only viable solution, is to have the two top left and the four on the bottom right. When you come to this bridge, you need to look around a little bit. So what you see on the board is what you have on the floor. So you have three yellow ones on the left side, which are the three yellow ones here. You have three yellow ones on the right side, which are these three yellow ones. And then you have a bridge in the middle that are also three yellow ones, which is this one. So to make the bridge move, you need to connect it with one of the sides, right? So this is how it currently looks like. We are currently connected to the left side, but we want to connect to the right side. So to do that, we need to single out these three for themselves, because we don't want our bridge to be connected. And then we need the three on the right side to connect together with our bridge. And then we go up. So what you see is that we have three here, and then we have the bridge connected there. So the bridge will move over to the other side. And you also have like an environmental puzzle here, if you do it with some timing and get make sure you don't get these shadow lines in the way, and you have like an ending right there. But I'm not going to go through the environmental puzzles right now. We're just going to try and speedrun as much as possible for these Tetris puzzles, so you guys can see and learn how they work. So you look here, we need to do other puzzles to unlock certain areas. So the next area is up here. As you can see here, we have a horizontal 4, and we have two trios that are going vertically. So we need to try and connect these in a way where everything works out, right? So how can we do that? Since we have this one locked, like the first thing I'm thinking about is to move this one to the top, but I can't do that, right? So what do I need to do? We have learned earlier that we don't need to like put like these four vertical or horizontal lines. They don't need to be on this specific line. They need to be horizontal, but they don't need to specifically be here, unless I would single out that one for itself. But then you see I can't do the three vertical ones because we only have space for two below and there's one at the top, and that won't work, right? So what we need to do is to connect them all, and we can do that by moving this one down here. That makes sure that we get both of these with us. So that outline is for this top one, and then we need to outline for the other two and make sure we get the horizontal for yellow squares with us, so we bring it into the same outline, which is this drawing right there. So you can see that these four will be put down here. That makes sure we get these two with us, and we move those up for these three squares and these three squares, right? It will become more complicated later. We have the exact same puzzle again, except we have this different broken part, right? So we can't do the same solution that we just did, but we can still use the bottom one as the four horizontal ones, but we need to move these up to the right and up to the left. So the answer will be looking like this. So basically you take these 4, put on the bottom 4, you take the 3 on the left vertical here, on these 3 vertical, and you take these 3 vertical on these 3 vertical, right? So you get a shape that is made from these yellow Tetris puzzles. So on this one you have 2 horizontal ones, you have a single one in the middle, and then you have a 4 on the right side. What we can see with this one instantly is that we have to combine this middle one with something else. We have to combine it with either this one or both of them. So let's see how we can do that, because well, the reason we can see it, we can't like outline, we can't go across our own part. So we know we can't single that one out alone, right? We can't outline just that square, which is impossible. So can we combine it with this one? There's no way, because we haven't learned yet. We're coming to that later. Currently we know that this one has to be horizontal. So the only solution for this one alone is either like that or like that. That's the 2 only solutions we have to actually use that one. So how can we do this? We need all 3 of them together, because we can't connect this one with this one either, because this one has to be horizontal. There's a line in between to be able to take this one. So the only way we can do it is to combine the 3 of them. We need to take these 4 and put on these 4, right? Because that will make sure we have those 2 with us. And what would we do to actually get the 4 vertical ones together with us? So we need to use the 3 below to get up to the 4 on the top. So how we do that is to go up here. We need to outline that. So if we do like this, you will see that we get these 4 placed in these 4 squares. You move this one up to the top and these 2 over here. So that's how you get all the shapes into your outline, and you solve the puzzle. So on this one we have the 3 with 1 vertical, so 3 horizontals and 1 vertical on the right side going down, and you have 3 vertical, 3 horizontal, and you have another 2 horizontal. So if we think about this one a little bit, we should be able to connect this one together with this one and make a 2x3. We could get it like that, but we need to manage to connect it together with this one, right? So we need to be able to have this one on the side with that. So at the moment we can't do that, but we could do this. That's a possible solution for those 2. So the question is then, do we need to connect these 2 together with the other 2 to be able to make what we need, right? So how can we find out if that's needed? So if we outline this again, can we draw anything on the remaining part to outline the other 2 solutions? Is it gonna be possible? Yes, in fact, it is gonna be possible. We just need to do it in a different way. So we can't outline these first, but we need to outline these first. So what we do, let me just outline this again and show from there. So if you look on the bottom now, and you switch places on the vertical one and the horizontal one, it kind of becomes easier to see, because you move the vertical 3 over to the right side, and you move the horizontal 3 on the left side. So the answer for those two becomes this. So on the right side here is the 3 vertical ones, and on the left side here would be the 3 horizontal ones. And then you outline the same thing we had on the top, and you have the solution. So it's not always you need to combine everything, but you need to make sure that you what you combine contains exactly what you're outlining, right? So whatever is inside your outline of the Tetris puzzles need to fit somewhere inside your outline. On this particular one, you are forced to have this one horizontal and this one vertical. But you will learn later that there are some, I actually think we're coming to that now, that some can be chosen how they are done. So on this one, we have an outline that's a 3 by 3 grid, so basically what we have, but the center is missing. But we have a single one over in the corner. So if we combine the two, we just outline the entire grid and we're good. On this one, you can combine the two diagonal ones and get a square, because there's no way you have to actually do it, because there's no way you can outline two diagonal ones. So you have to combine it with something to be able to do it. And that's a good thing to have in mind for later. When you get any diagonal ones, you know you have to combine it with something else to be able to actually solve the puzzle. So this one is easy, where you just combine the two. So these two fit perfectly as the top right and the bottom left to make a square together. So just make a square and it fits good. And again, you see here we have diagonal ones, so we have to fit it together with something else. There's no option. So we have here a 4 long one, which can be the top. We have a single one, so if we move the single one down, it's kind of easy to see how everything would fit. So this bottom one that has 2 vertical and 1 diagonal would be the 2 bottom left and the 1 diagonal up. You move this one down to this square, and then you have 4 on the top. So the outline becomes kind of easy, and you see how it works, right? And then you have this one, where we have a 3 by 3 without the fill in it in the bottom left, so there's like a square missing in the bottom left. We have a 2 diagonal with another 2 diagonal, and there is 2 columns. There's 2 columns missing for it to be a 2 by 4, right? So there's another cube again, just like here, that is missing in this one. So we know that these two has to be 2 on the left side and 2 on the right side. Either the 2 top ones and 2 top ones, the 2 middle ones, 2 middle ones, or the 2 bottom ones, right? That's what we know. So how can we fit this together? So if we try to put these two together with that one, because we already know that we are most likely going to need to fit all 3 together, since these are on the both sides. There's no way for us to like only single out these 4 and get only the 2 on the sides, right? So we know this has to be combined with something, and if you combine it only with this one, there's still gonna be problems, right? You can't outline only these 2 and still sit left with something. It's impossible, so you have to combine all 3 of them. And the way we have to do that is to take these 2 on the left side from these, they need to go here. Then you have the shape in the top left that is 3 horizontal, and then 2 more down, so it's gonna go in these 5 squares right here, and the 2 right ones here will be going here. That way we have all three of them lined in together. Well, except for this one, which means we need to take these three and put them in these three, right? So let me draw the outline for you, which will be looking like this. So to explain that one a little bit better, we have this shape is gonna go here, and this shape are these two and these two. So we have everything here filled out except for these three, and these three are gonna be these three, right? What you have outside doesn't matter. You can line that out exactly how you want. It doesn't matter. But these is just like, that's the setup you have to do. There might be a different solution, but that's the easiest one I can find, and I don't bother like looking for more. Here we have the one that is a little bit skewed. So it's not horizontal, it's not diagonal, and it's not vertical. So what does this mean? We don't know yet. It's like a simple solution. So all we see is that there are 4, so we have to outline 4. We know that from earlier, right? So that one is either that, what we just did, or that. It's very simple. So we're understanding, we're kind of learning something new that is building on what we already did, since we have simple puzzles again, like we had all the way in the beginning. So this one you can see we have 3 going, like if you turn it, you have 3 going down and 1 to the left. So you need to remember which way it goes. So you can't do 3 down and 1 to the right. So you can't do this solution, because that wouldn't fit with the symbol that you have or the piece that you have. So the correct solution is to do this one. Even though it kind of looks like it's horizontal, but you can see it's not possible to go horizontal and build this one, because you don't have 3 going in a horizontal line, right? Or in a row. There's no row with 3 cells in it. So if you think like a Excel sheet, for instance, there's missing the 3rd row or the 3rd column, right? The 3rd column is missing. So what we learn is that we can rotate it to be vertical as we please for the moment. So we can do the same with these. So the easiest way to take these two is to like rotate this one a little bit so it's vertical, and then you move this one like 180 degrees, so it's the other way around, and you would see that we have one going up and to the right, and the other one would go down and to the left, and they would make a 2x4 together. So it's kinda easy to just do that, and it would be these 4. You can rotate this one, so one goes there and one fits there, right? One there and one there. Okay, so I had a little bit of technical difficulties. My sound fell out, so I had to restart the game, but I'm back. And we're back on this puzzle. So as you can see, we are having a another Tetris piece, which is 3, let's say it's vertical and 1 to the right on the top, right? So it would be typically this solution, right? But we can't do it like that. So we need to test different options, right? We can't go up here either to draw out this outline, so that doesn't work. So what other options do we have? We could go like this way, but that's not an option. So we should be able to maybe do this, but that doesn't become an option either, because we can't go any of these 2 parts, right? And we can't cross ourselves. So what other options do we have? We could go down and to the right, which is left for us how we see it, but it's gonna be for the actual piece. That would be the correct one, but again, we have a broken part here, so we can't do that. We could move it over and have it here, but again, we have a broken part. So there's only one way to actually do this one. You would normally be able to also do this. That's also a correct solution, but we can't go past the broken part. So the only way to do this one is to include the broken part in part of the outline, right? So it needs to be inside the outline, so we don't get stuck on the broken part. So that one works just because of that, and it's the only solution you have. So when you come over to this one, it's another another bridge, and you can see that the bridge are like a corner or a square that is missing one, which is the one you have in the middle. So that's the bridge, and you want to connect them to the parts. So we want to go to the blue one, which means we could connect the black one and the blue one, but we don't want to go straight back because we want to see what's on purple. So if we connect blue and purple, we will get the part that we want for the future straight away, right? So to do that, we need to connect the blue line together, or the blue dot together with the purple dot, and put it out the way that the bridge would look like, right? So the bridge would be looking like this to be connected with the blue and the purple. So we need to do something on this blue side before we can do the purple side. I'm not sure if I need to go over here yet. I actually don't think that has anything to do with this one, except for the bridge. We might be looking into that as well. I'll have a quick look over there and see if it's something that we need. But again, we have the skewed ones, which means we can rotate them exactly how we want. So we can have the 4 yellow bits over here. We can either have them vertically or we can have them horizontally. Maybe we can even have them diagonally, but that's just gonna be more difficult, I assume, to actually set up properly, right? So the easiest way to look at it is to have them just be vertical or horizontally. At least for me it is. So we have a 1x4, which we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 5 diagonal to work with. We have 5 horizontally to work with. So how do we want to set this one up? We could outline this one alone. We could try and outline this one alone, but there's going to be an issue doing this one alone horizontally. That's not possible because of the broken part. So it would be horizontal, which means we need to include this one. So for those two together, it would be like that. That would be the most simple solution. And we could try to outline the other one alone as well. So we could do this solution, for instance, for the bottom one, and then you do this solution for the other two together. But apparently that didn't work. So the reason for that is that I actually drew it incorrectly over there. So I need to do it like this because I need room for all of them. I was doing one too little. That's excellent. A good example of being a forehead. So you can do it like this and include this one up here. But far as I know, there should be a perfectly way to include all 3 of them together as well, most likely. So you can include these 4 down here, and you have this one going up here, and you have these going together. So if actually you can't, because you can't go here. You can't take that one, so that's actually not a possibility. Let's see if there's a different possibility. So if we go this one, and nope, that's not gonna work either, because that would bring us up here, so we won't even get this one in. So it seems like actually that this seems to be may be only solution. There's probably more solutions that I don't see at the moment, but that's a good solution to use. And here we have again two that are diagonal, so they have to be diagonal. They can't be horizontal and they can't be vertical, but they are skewed, so you can put them how you want. I'm thinking to put them together with this one, so you would get a shape that looks like, just to outline it, it will be looking like this. As you can see, these two here would be that, these two, and these four would be that shape, right? So that together, now we just need to get this one together with us. So how can we combine all three of these in a way that can account? So we could also do this. Let me see, that would be like that. That is working together. So all we need to do is to outline 1, 2, 3, 4 and do that. So we can do it like that, which is going to be a viable solution. And there's probably other solutions as well to this one. But we can go with this one for now, just to show how it works, right? So for this one you have this shape is going to be these three and that one. These two are the diagonal ones here, and this one is simple to have here. So you just need to find what actually goes together, and you need to outline the shape as per usual, or as earlier. You need to outline the shape as you see it as the 4 squares, and you need to outline that in the bigger graph, or the bigger grid, basically, right? So if you look on this one has to be diagonal. So it has to be D6 as its own, right? There's no other options because it's in the bottom left corner. It has to be those 6. But as you see, you get the other shape with you, so you know already it can't be alone. So how can we get the other shape with it? You can see that the other shape is skewed. So the other shape would be then to add it on top, for instance, which means we would go here, but that is broken. The path is broken, so we can't go there. So we have to combine the third one as well, because there's no room. There's no room for us to do it the other way either. If you have these 6 and we put if you put this one at the bottom here and try to do that instead, you can see that we can't do that either because the path is broken there too. So it's kind of forcing us a specific way. So what else could we do? We could have these 3 and over, but then again the path is broken, so we can't go that way. So how could we do it then with only those 2? So we have a third solution, which is going to be like that, but then we need to be able to make the last outline for the last piece. And do we have room to do that? No, we don't. There's no room to actually make that outline without crossing path with where we already are. So we need to combine all 3 of them. So the best way to do that is if you like take this corner and you drag it around and you fit the 2 together, so it becomes a 2x4. So we have a 2x3 together with a 2x4, and the 2x4 you can set however you want, vertically or horizontally. So if you take the 2x4 and set them on the top here, and then you have the 2x3 down here, you can outline it like this. So you have the 2x4, which is this one and this one together. So this one would basically be this square, this square, this square, and this square. So those 4 squares, and this one would be those 4 squares. And this one, of course, is the 6 squares in the bottom. So that's one way to do it, and there might be other ways to do it. We have the last one, where you have basically, let's go a little bit back to this one right here. We basically have this piece right here, but there's one missing, right? So there's only 3 squares on these pieces and one missing. But we can combine the two since they are opposite. So we just move this one over to this and we would suddenly have a 2 by 3, which is a lot easier to work with. So how can we combine these two together when they are so far apart, but still connect them, right? Because it won't be possible with only those, so we have to use this one to connect with those. So how can we do that? And there are actually multiple solutions to this one. So we can do one of these. So we will have the bottom one, which is like a corner where 1 by 3 or 3 by 3, just missing the square in the bottom right. So that will be this square right there that is missing. So we're going to outline that. So that's that piece. And then you have the other piece on the right side included, so you need to include that somewhere. But we then include it together with this one. You can go up and do it like that. But then you can also just take this one with you, right? So you can have that as a solution. So we're just going to run back and we're going to do these real quick. So these are bring another thing into the puzzles. So now we have a blue square too. So now we need to find out what the blue square means, right? So from what we have learned earlier, if we just think about the yellow squares for now, this would be a correct solution, right? But it's wrong. So what does the blue square mean, right? So we'll try something else. Okay, so that worked. Why did that work? What does the blue square mean? So from that one, the only thing like we can think about, well, for me, is that it means to subtract one square from the other, right? So we have 3 yellows, but we subtract 1, so we only have 2. So 2 diagonal, and you get the solution. So here we have 4 minus 2, so it's going to be the correct same solution. We cannot do this. We cannot do this. And we cannot do this. So we were correct with our assumption, as we thought. It's going to be subtraction. On this one, again, it's going to be subtraction, but we can't do this because then we don't include the subtraction. So if we don't include the subtraction, we would need to outline the entire 4, right? So we need to include the subtraction, and then we can do it. There are 2 solutions to this one, which is to bring one of the other 2 and remove one of them, right? So that's the correct solution. We have the same thing again. So what we can do is to have that, but that wouldn't be correct, right? Because the left side would now be correct with 2 squares on top of each other, but the right side wouldn't be correct because we're supposed to subtract 2, but we can't subtract 2, so it becomes wrong. This side becomes wrong and this side becomes correct. So we need to bring the entire thing together. So how can we do that? We need to make sure we include everything, but what should we subtract? It doesn't really matter. We can subtract any 2 that we want, right? So it doesn't need to be the top one, it can be the middle one, because we are basically not forced to make all of them a square now, right? So you could make it easier for yourself and do the 2 top ones. So you have a square here, a square here, a square here, then you have a square and you take the 2 top ones. But it doesn't matter, you could have removed these 2. As long as you don't remove any that contains the pieces that you need, you can move any 2 that are connected, right? The only thing you can't do is to take 2 in the middle. You can't take these 2 or these 2, because you can't force them to be alone. You can't outline them to be alone. So it has to be 2 on the sides anywhere. So you can do this if you want to. It's also a viable solution. So this last one down here is the grid outside, and you need to remove the middle, but you can't remove the middle. So if this subtraction wasn't here, there's no way you would be able to outline this middle part, and you need to remove one. So you just go one back. Now you have removed one from the outer line, the outer grid, and both the puzzle piece up here and the subtraction is together, right? So the puzzle piece would be everything on the outside minus 1, and you can remove whichever one you want, except for any of the corners, because you can't outline a corner and the center together. That's not a possibility. So you have to outline one of these 8 squares that are like on the sides. Okay, let's go back to the purple one. Speed run this one. So we have 2 environmental puzzles here, which you can do by lining up. So you need to line up like this and get the correct color. So when you get the correct color in, and do that. So environmental puzzles, just to show them. So they're both the exact same. That's how those 2 work. To do this one, you can see there's a lot of pieces here. So how do we actually do this one? So the first thing you can do, try to count how many yellow pieces there are in total. So you have 4 times 4, well, 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. So there's 4 in every single piece, which means you have 3, 7, so 7 times 4, and you have 28, right? So 28 total, and how big is our grid? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and 5. So our grid is a total of 10. So it should be pretty easy. We have 28, and we can remove 2. So I don't even need to know if you need to test anything proper. So let's see if this just works. So it didn't work to take away 2 horizontal. It doesn't work to take away 2 of those either. So we need to check a little bit. So let's start off with this bottom one. We can do that to outline that. And if we want to bring this one with us, we would have to outline here and down there. So we have outlined both of those 2 together. Now, if we want to bring this piece together with what we just had, we just put that on these 4 right here. So we'll go up here. So that's that piece. And then we need to remember to bring what we had before. And then we'll bring this guy with us. So we'll have to go up here. So I brought that with us. And then you can look at this piece. So we have these 2 together with this. So that's that piece. So if we bring that in, we would be something like this. Then we can put the square that we have on our left and bring that in here. And we can bring the last one. Let's see, where can we bring that one in? We can bring that in like this, right? So there are 3 that are missing. Should that be correct? No, it should be this corner gone and this corner gone. So if we do this, that should be a correct solution. So if I'm gonna try and show how that is done, we have this particular piece are these 4 right here. So you just drag it out like as it is. This one, you move into these two and these two. You have the vertical one right here. This one is going to go here, so they basically fit very well exactly where they are all the time. We already have these, so this one fits perfectly where it is. The square fits perfectly where it is, and this one fits in here. We just need to have the most left one where it actually is and drag it in. So you just remove the two corners. This is one of the environmental video logs, by the way. We don't care about that one right now. We're gonna go and just finish this area. So we want to go back to black, so we need to connect blue and black. So we'll do that like same way that we did with purple and blue. Well, now we're waiting for us to be able to get over. We can't go down there yet. So we need to go all the way over here. You can see it's powered up over here. Go down here. So what do we learn here? We are keeping on with our minus thing, and we have a 4x4 grid, and we have one horizontal 1x4, and we have a vertical 1x4, and then we have one subtraction. So we need to combine the three. So what we can do is to take the 4 horizontal and move them in here. The 4 horizontal to be on this line and one outside, kind of. And since we are adding the subtraction with that, the one that is outside the grid doesn't count anymore, because that's the one you subtract, right? So you subtract 1 from this one, so it becomes a 1x3 line horizontal, and move it into these 3 squares. And you move the horizontal one to these 4 squares. So if you do the same thing on this one, you have now 2 that are separate, so you can take 1 away from this one and 1 away from that one. You can take 2 away from this one or 2 away from this one. So you have some options here, right? So what would be the easiest way to combine all 4 of these, most likely, to fit together, right? So if you take this one, which is gonna be a 4 horizontal, and put that on these 4 down here, and then you bring this guy, which is 4 vertical, and bring on this line, so you make sure you have all 4 of them, but then you need to subtract 2, right? So which 2 are you gonna subtract? Well, first of all, you have 1x4 vertical and 1x4 horizontal. So you would need to, when you have 1 horizontal here and 1 vertical here, you have 2 yellow ones on top of each other, right? You have 2 yellow on this specific square that are occupying the same space. So you would have to remove 1 of those, but then you have to remove 1 more. So you can remove this square, which is going to be the easiest one, just because we need all these 4 to be connected together, since there are 3 pieces that we need. So the easiest one is to remove this one. So we'll do that like this, remove that one away, and you have that as the solution. So what you do is that you remove the left one here, and bring these 3 horizontal down to these 3. You bring these 4 horizontal to these, and you remove the bottom one of that one. So only one yellow one will be occupying this slot at the moment. So on this one, not the last one. There seems to be some more coming on the other side here. We have 1 that is supposed to be subtracted, and we have a bigger piece looking like what we have had before. There's just like 1 extra piece there. So it's going to be 2 over, 3 up, and 2 over. So 1 over. So it's going to be looking like that. So it could be like here, right? So we get the piece with us. So this is a solution for that one. That's the correct piece outlined. But then we need to bring in the 1x4 and the subtraction, which is going to be easiest done. Let me see how I'm going to do that the easiest way. We would need to go like this. So the 1x4 is going to be a 1x3 because of the subtraction. So we're going to go like that. We're going to go like that. So we have this piece is this piece, and this 1x4 becomes a 1x3 because of the subtraction, and we have 1x3. Next one, you have a square. For me, this is the most confusing one. So the most difficult one to actually understand properly. If I put this guy over here, like that, is that gonna be a possibility? I would be able to set that one like that, put the other one over there, and I would need to put I would need to put this one over here then. So then the question is, what would I remove? I actually don't know. So it's, well, actually, I see what the solution most likely would be. Let me see. Give me a second. Can we put this one like that and put this other one here? So we get double in this one. So it would kind of be like this. That's those two just moved to the opposite sides. So this one right here would be in this location, and this one right here would be in this location, right? So there would be double up here and double up there, and the entire line would still be around. So it would be these two that vanishes by using the top one. So we'll just go like this, and it should become like that. Wouldn't that work? Oh, wait, give me a second. Wait a second. It would be up like that, right? That's how it would be. Okay, so let me explain how I was thinking that. This Tetris puzzle right here is going here, right? It's going from this one and over. This one is going from here and over, which means there's two yellow ones here from the pieces, two yellow ones here from the pieces, and single ones here. So when you move this square down here to these four, these two gets removed because there's only one. Here there are two yellow ones, so they remain as part of the puzzle, and this piece are gonna go here without any subtraction. So that's how you get to this specific answer. That one is more difficult than this one. This one is actually easier to understand, but see how, or easier to find at least. So I would have had these two opposite if I made the game. They should have switched places. You should learn this one before you learn the other one, because that's a difficult one. At least for me it is. So if you look on this one, you have two single ones that you can single out and remove anyone you want, right? You have a regular Tetris piece, which is a 1x3 and a single one in the middle. And then you have this grid that is every other, right? So this grid would be all these four in diagonal. It would be these two, and it would be these two, right? So that's what would be colored in on the grid if you put it into the big grid. And how can you fit this one into that in a way where you actually will be able to draw it, right? So the first thing you need to think about is that it's not possible for you to outline the 4 middle ones or anyone in the middle ones single-handedly, right? So all the 4 middle squares has to be part of the entire solution when you take the two together. You can't outline this alone, it's not possible. So you can't do this and also outline this one, it's not possible. So you have to combine them, and the best way to combine them, you have to make sure that these 4 are yellows. So you would need to put it somehow so you can get this grayed out area and this grayed out area together. And the best way to do that is to put this piece on so it covers this one, this one, this one, and this one, which means there would be 2 here, which is this one, right? So one of these will be used for that to make it a single one. So we have this piece right here is outlined. We should have something like this, but we need to like outline this one, and it's not possible. So where would we need this? The only way we now have, we have all these are now yellow, right? We have used up one of these and this one. So these would be yellow, and that one would be yellow. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares that are grayed out, right? In the grid. But there's one way that you can manage to do it, and you have to like release this corner, because there's no way you can outline these 2 squares alone and keep this one. It's not possible, right? You can't outline these 2 squares because you will go over your own part. So you have to remove that one. So this one needs to go, and the double that is in that location has to go. So you end up with having all these 3 needs to be in the puzzle. That one needs to be in, that one needs to be in. You need to keep that one in the bottom. And we remove this corner, so all these 3 get removed. We need to keep this one, outline this corner, and outline this one. So if you look at it again, these 2 right here are these 2 in the bottom left. We have these 4 is of course going to be the diagonal, but we remove this one, and you can say that you remove this one, which makes this piece a pair, right? And you have this piece put into that suddenly open area that fits perfectly for the piece. And then you have the 2 top right ones, which is going to be these 2, and that's how you get to this solution. So yeah, that's just the bridge. We don't need to do the bridge. This is another this bridge is to do this environmental puzzle right here, and you need to like get the correct color, so this needs to go a little bit further away to get the correct color, and it fits in. We're not going to bother doing that. So what we need to do now is the last one to actually finish off everything. Well, there's two more actually. We have... Is there 2 more? Okay, yeah, so we have this one, which is a little bit special. You have a 2 minus 2, so it doesn't really matter. As long as you combine both of them, it doesn't matter. There's nothing, right? It's the same as there's nothing, so you can do whatever you want. As long as you combine both of them, you can do whatever you want. Both of those solutions work, right? This solution work, this solution work, this solution work. There's only one solution that doesn't work, and it's that, right? So as long as you get to 0, you can do whatever you want. So it's the same thing here. So you can do that, you can do that, you can do that. As long as you combine all 3 of them, you can do whatever you want, but you can't like cut off one of them. That doesn't work. So combine them and you're good. Again, here we have 1 square we have one like triangle thing or a corner of a square, well, 3 corners of the square, and we have 4 squares that needs to be subtracted. One is vertical, 2 vertical, and there's 2 single ones. So you can combine all these to make a square, which is going to be this one. So that's going to be the easiest one. You can take these 4, subtract from this. So all you need to do is to make sure that you're outlining that piece in the bigger grid. So this one fits here, and the rest here becomes 0, and you don't need to think about it. So if you go in this one, you see that we have a trio here together with a trio there, but this trio isn't skewed and this one isn't skewed, so you can't like just do whatever you feel necessary, right? We also have 2 broken lines, so how can we make the entire thing 0, right? So the way you can do that is to take one of these singles and put together with these 2 verticals, and you can make this piece, and you can take the other one and bring it together with the square and make that piece, right? The easiest way to do that is to go up here, make sure these 2 are not together, and do like that. So you outline these together, and you outline these together, and you have a solution. So then we can go to the end of the entire thing, which is going to be the red. Oh, my bad. I forgot to go through the door. Why can I not go through the door? This door is supposed to open when I do that puzzle. Do I need to do this puzzle too? There we go. Okay, so all of them was needed to be done. I could not just do that one. So we have here a 3x3 grid. We need to get to this end, right? So you have a puzzle here, and you need to find out how to get out here. You have a 3x3 grid here of yellows, so you need to use this puzzle to do something with these, right? So the way you do it, you start here, and you need to remove this square that I'm standing on and this one behind me. So it's going to be that square and that square. They need to be removed. So if you do this, you will see that, okay, we'll move that square, which means we get an elevator and we can move down. You see we have the same puzzle over there. It looks exactly the same as that one. You can have a look at it and see that, okay, we come from the top on the puzzle that we see there is removed, which means these squares. So on that side, the bottom is where we will be standing. And now we need to get to this square so that we can walk with that solution over there, or that puzzle over there, right? So what we need to do then is to remove these 2, stand in the middle here, so you stand on one of the 2 that are already down, and then you can go over here. Now I want to go over there so we can get the laser to be going, right? So what we need to do, we're on the bottom, and we need to remove these 2 so that we can go out on the side. So that comes down, and we're good. That comes up. And then we are at the end, and we should be good to go. So all we now need to do is to finish the entire area, and we get our first laser.